Get those hands up high. Believe in yourself, because you can change your life. You're looking for the answer, staring at the sky, but you'll never find it all out there. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast. My name is Harley Neville.
And I'm Guy Pigden. And who was that?
That was
Amazing.
Yultron. Yultron with his song The Bottom. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast. These were uplifting lyrics for a change, you know?
Right. I see. Yeah, well, look, it was all right. So we should quickly apologize to our listeners for the audio quality of my audio and the video quality of my video. Yeah. What's currently happening for anyone that's watching on the live stream is what I've got is what I call Celebrity 2020 view. So this was when anytime any celebrity was ever interviewed, they were interviewed from their homes and they were using a shitty camera and they had the old classic earbuds in with the mic on. And this is how they would conduct these serious interviews on these late night shows and all sorts of things. And they look like absolute shit. And for the first 2 or 3 months, I was like, yeah, that's cool. You know? That makes sense. But for the last 6, I'm like, really, guys? You couldn't have invested in some shit to make yourselves not look terrible and not just come at it with your laptop open, you know? It's like, you guys are rich celebrities. This is your job, is to look good on camera. Couldn't have bought yourself a little microphone, a little camera, and sorted it out.
Well,
really?
tell you what, I had a few job interviews and so on over the course of this year, and I was always very happy at the quality of my stream. I was like, man, I'm so glad that I've got this nice microphone and this nice camera and this light all set up and all the rest of it. I was like, this is obviously very good for me looking like a professional.
Yeah, and so the reason for us looking like this, or me looking like this, is because I am currently in Dunedin. So as we mentioned last time, I've jet-setted down. I've braved the plane of COVID. I do have a slight, I don't know if it's a cold or if it's hay fever or if it's a hangover from excessive drinking and eating last night. It could be any one of those things, but I do have a bit of a blocked nose, a little bit stuffy. It's the COVID I picked up on the way here. I'm not sure. But I'm down in Dunedin. I'm catching up with the family for a little bit of time and saying hello. And my mum, in fact, is just messaging me. I don't know. Can you guys hear that ding?
Well, I'm pretty sure that, I can, so I assume they can.
She was like, are you awake? And I said, yes, I'm doing the podcast. I'm busy. Yeah. I'm busy in my room doing a podcast. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Mum!
So just like
old habits die hard.
Mom, stop interrupting me. So I came down and so I did think it was quite interesting to note my plane's down. The COVID protocols is that you're all right. So you all have to wear a mask on the plane. So we all put our masks on as we entered the plane, and then we all took them off at exactly the same time to breathe all over each other as we drank our complimentary drink and ate our complimentary snack.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like there's something wrong with this safety protocol. I feel like somehow they haven't quite thought it through. Is the idea that if you only do that once per plane flight, it's better than just, you know? To me, I feel like you should keep it on the whole time, or if you're going to all take it off all at the same time, somehow that kind of defeats the purpose a little bit.
Well, I think you're right. I think the only thing is that maybe it doesn't... You're still mitigating the risks, because for the majority of the time you are covered, and so there is this period where everybody's uncovered, and that's the risky moment. And so you are still, it's not black or white, it can sort of be somewhere in the middle, and I think that's probably what it is. But you're right. I mean, I remember flying on the plane, and I was just taking off my mask, which involved, of course, touching my mask after touching everything in the plane, sitting down on these chairs and undoing my tray, putting my tray down and all the rest of it, and then touching my face, and then eating the food, and handing back my rubbish and doing all the stuff, and then putting my mask back on.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone has COVID on that plane, they're going to be like, cool, we need to isolate, quarantine everyone then, because shit.
Yeah, well, you would have to.
But yes, so I took the and that's why I'm here and looking like crap on the stream.
And how is merry old Dunedin? Is it the bustling metropolis that you recall?
It's always the classic when you return to Dunedin.
This is our hometown, so the listeners know this is our hometown.
24, 25 degrees, beautiful weather, fly into Dunedin, cold, miserable, wet, the middle of summer, and you're like, that's right. This is the problem. And apparently it hasn't just been the time that I've been here, although the last couple of days haven't been that bad, if you don't mind 11 degrees.
Well, a few people on my Facebook feed from Dunedin have been posting pictures of ice on their cars, and this is in the Dunedin summer. We're in New Zealand summer, and they've got ice on their cars. And I'm thinking about buying a house down there. The hell am I thinking?
Also, I know. Also, if you want, I also hate the hashtag Dunna Stunner, which is whenever basically 3 times within summer there is a nice day, and on those to take a photo of the sunny weather and them doing something weather, and then hashtag Dunna Stunner, and it's like, all right, fuck, here's a Dunna Stunner.
Yeah.
What about the but hashtag Dunna Stunner. 11 degrees down here.
Yeah, well, you've got to sort of document and enjoy the important moments. The nice days are so rare that you've got to enjoy them, basically.
With a hashtag.
With a hashtag,
on
you've got to promote it. Yeah. Yeah. So
how was your Christmas?
Well, last episode we did say that I was not going to be attending your Christmas orphans party on Christmas Eve. That was the latest update. I was going to Hastings I was going to go visit my family down there, and I was not going to make it to your party. But then I wanted to go the day beforehand to go and sort of see my granddad and visit him. And we didn't talk about it last week, but I was a little bit hurt because just prior to the show, I had called my granddad hoping that I could visit him and spend the night at his place, sort of on my way to road trip to visit, my mum and stuff. And it wasn't so much that I needed a place to stay, but because I wanted to spend some quality time with him. He's in his late 80s and that. Yep. So I sort of wanted to make an effort, and it's near Christmas, make an effort to, get down there and spend the night, and that would also break up my quite long trip as well. It's quite a long trip, so I could go just halfway to where he is, and then stay the night and then get up in the morning, maybe swing by some hot pools so that because I needed to kill a bit of time during the day in order to arrive once Mum's finished work. I had it all planned out. I was like, it's brilliant, it's genius. I called him, and even though he's in his late 80s and retired, he was too busy. He had chores to do and errands to run. So he
had some chores to be getting on with.
So he suggested I just swing by for a coffee, the next day during my 9-hour, journey. Make it do an hour detour to go and see him, and just have a cup of coffee, and then keep on my merry way. So that's me. The what is it? The bastard adopted red-headed stepchild or something, grandchild, unwanted grandson.
Yeah,
that's the one.
The grandson that no one wanted.
So with this new development where I was going to have to do it all in one day, I was a little bit less sort of, into my idea of a road trip, but I was still going to do it. And so what I did with my day, the day that I had planned on leaving the day before, instead I had this day in Auckland, so I went out skating with my good friend Francois, and we had a good long 2.5-hour skate. I'll have you know, I am very, very fat with a PH. I'm a fat skater, and I landed a bunch of stuff. I'm still pretty good. The risk to reward ratio is all out of whack nowadays, though. You know, you're like, hey, man, it'll be cool if I land this. But the other part of you goes, yeah, but if you break your ankle, it's going to take you months to recover from and be a big pain in your fucking ass. And also that you can do that 50-50 at the skate park in front of, 3 12-year-olds or something, like... What's the reward here? There's no reward. But anyway, nevertheless, the next... so I went skating 2.5 hours, and the next day I woke up and my back was completely clenched up, seized up.
Spasm.
And it seized up in an old manish fashion. My back injury, I've got a back injury. Long time listeners will know I hurt my back a year ago. Still not 100%. Went skating for 2.5 hours. Woke up the next morning all like clenched up, stiff, difficult to move around. And I was thinking, gosh, I cannot handle a big long drive the entire length of the North Island today. And so, sorry, Mum. Sorry, Granddad. Sorry, sister. I had to cancel, and I did not go. Now, the good news was that meant I could come and party at your orphan's Christmas, because, I don't need a good back for that.
So your family's loss was my gain.
It was.
But, yeah, it is funny that literally 2.5 hours of skating the day prior, not that day, the day prior, decommissioned you for the whole next day, the possibility of driving.
Yeah. Well,
so welcome to 37.
Welcome to nearly 38. I mean, both of us will be 38 in a few months, 4 months or so, which is
5 months
for
me,
you. Yeah.
So
who's counting?
Who's counting?
Yeah. So that was a good fun party though that you had at your place. Shout out to Richard Lambeth, who is a long-time listener of the podcast, who. Unfortunately for him, fell off the podcast wagon, just immediately prior to the lockdown, just sometime before the lockdown.
Yeah.
Something changed in his iTunes feed, and it meant that he no longer got notifications, and he could no longer find any new episodes, and he thought we had just stopped, when in reality we had actually increased our output quite drastically to a weekly show. And so I've fixed up the iTunes now, so if all you guys can go out there and listen to the show on iTunes, it's all in order. It's all got episode numbers and all the rest of it, and it all looks very good. So that only took 2 days for me to do that. And so go check it out on iTunes if you get the chance, the Guy and Harley podcast, and whatever, hit like and give it a star rating and all those types of things, because that really helps us. Give us a review. We get some listeners up in this sumbitch. But yes, so your party, jolly good times. Guy was on the barbecue, which was lovely. Normally I have to be on the barbecue. This time Guy was in full charge of the barbecue, and I got to say, you did cook the food well.
Not a sausage burnt.
No.
Not a sausage
left behind.
I was going to say no sausages left behind. No salmonella.
Yep.
Salmonella free.
Yep.
Everyone was fine the next day. So we did this. Lambeth, he's an actor. He's a friend of ours. He's a very talented actor, and he recently came back from London. And the plan was that he was going to write a web series for himself while he was on quarantine. So you have to have a form here in New Zealand to make sure that you don't have COVID when you are released out into the wilds of New Zealand. And so that 14-day period is the perfect time to sit down, knuckle down, get some work done, get some series, write this next great web series.
Just nut it out. Just nut it out.
Catapult him to start. And unfortunately, what he said instead, he got sidetracked by copious amounts of masturbation. And it wouldn't be the first time, if we're all being honest, we as creative spirit was thwarted by masturbation. So that's really what happened on that that 14-day period was zero writing and a lot of whacking off, apparently. Yeah. So shout out to Richard. He's going to listen to this. He's probably not going to be happy that I shared that story,
He probably told you that in confidence.
He'll never get to this. Like, he's so far behind that by the time he gets to the angle will have subsided, because it's like, well, I told you that so long ago that I'm not angry that you shared it on the podcast. But so there you go. Shout out to Richard. Great dude, but needs to regain his focus and just lay off the hand and get onto start bashing away on the keyboard instead. That's what he needs to do. Shout out to him. But the 14-day quarantine isolation does crazy things for man.
I can imagine. And I might have to do it in July. I might have to do it because that's when I'll be coming. Well, in August rather, I'll be coming back from, all going well, coming back from Japan, where I'm putting graphics on the sailing for the Olympics. Very exciting contract I've got to look forward to. But I'm not so much looking forward to the 2 weeks of quarantine when I get back. I've spent plenty of time alone, I don't need 2 weeks alone. Some people are like, oh, I could do with 2 weeks alone. That sounds kind of nice. So no, I've done 2 years alone, fucking in the cell, solitary.
Well, I feel like the people that are hosting the Olympics, and the people that are paid to the Olympics are really banking on the idea that whole quarantine thing has been dispensed of by the time it gets to you going over there. Yeah. Otherwise, they're going to have to pay you extra for that quarantine time.
Yeah, well, or at least cover my quarantine costs at minimum, right? So it will be interesting to see. I hope it doesn't lead to them just canning the contract. They go, well, we just can't afford it. We can't afford to send everybody over. We'll cut back or do something different. I mean, there is, 100 million or 120 million or 60 million or something. I can't remember. 69 million people in Japan. I'm sure one of them can do the graphics. Surely. You know what I mean?
No, we need to fly. We need to fly them over. You've
got to fly Harley over. You've got to fly Harley Neville. We need the best of the best.
We need to pay for all their expenses, their accommodation, and we need to pay for the costs of them self-isolating for 14 days on their return, which is about $4,000 or $5,000.
I thought it was $3,000.
Oh, $3,000. Could be $3,000. $3,000 plus whatever he's losing in his own wages, which would be equivalent to just paying him for those 2 weeks on top of that. So it doesn't really make sense. But
well, there's big money. There's big bucks being thrown around. This is the Olympics. It's one of the longest, biggest, longest standing sporting events, ever. So I guess there's a lot of money being thrown around. They're like, hey, we need Harley. Fuck it. We'll do the quarantine. But we'll see. We'll see. I also wanted to give a quick shout out, seeing as we shouted out Richard. I also wanted to shout out Ben from Media, who is a new listener that we need to lure in with some good shows and shout outs. So shout out to Ben. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Hopefully you get the bug, get the guy in Harley bug, and can't get rid of it.
Delete it from your recommended shows.
Yes.
So, but you did travel down. How was your Christmas? What did you get for Christmas?
And then so on Christmas Day, I went to another party, an orphans party. So I had a lovely time at your event, and the partied until about 2:30 in the morning.
Did you just cancel?
I just cancelled.
Family.
I just didn't go.
It's a full stop cancel.
Yeah.
It's zero.
No.
They don't want to see you. You don't want to see
them. It's
done.
That's it. It's finished. So it's over. It's over between us. Yeah. So
I thought you were just going the next day.
No. I canned the whole thing because the thing is, I was going to have to come back on Boxing Day, so I was only ever going to be down there for one full day and then turning around and coming back and doing another 6-hour drive or 7-hour drive. So I was like, no, can't do it. Sorry, Mum. But I am going to go visit them another time. I'm going to go visit them another time. But yeah, it was too sore. So I went along to this party instead because there's plenty of, you can party with a sore back, no problem. That's not an issue.
You can stand up drinking for 10 hours straight, no problem.
2 days in a row.
Just can't
2 days in a row.
Just
can't drive.
Driving
Well, I can't drive for 12 hours. It's a 12-hour return trip, at least. And that's if I don't detour to visit my granddad. So I went to another orphan's Christmas party on Christmas Day. That was fun. I had a micro dose of acid beforehand because I still have acid left over from my birthday, which I haven't used. And I was like, well, when's this ever going to get used? And I was like, well, Christmas Day, maybe. And so the trick was to have a micro dose, which is like, so you don't see anything, or there's no, you're not all like fucked out of your face on acid, but you just have a little tiny tingle up your spine and you have a bit of energy. So, so I tried that, the littlest little speck, and I had a great day. It was worth it. It was a positive experience. So yeah, that was my Christmas. Basically alone and partying. There was lots of people there, and they were good people, and they were very kind to me, and they were all orphans too. Good food,
they were very
good
kind.
singing.
They took pity on you.
Yeah, so it was good.
Well, I had my Christmas yesterday, so delayed a little bit for family members to return, except my sister, who is in Australia, so she can obviously not come back at this stage to visit, and it was cool. Although, again, so I've complained before about the Christmas haul, because the Christmas haul gets kind of not quite as good as
smaller and smaller every year. As you get older, you get less and less presents.
But yeah, this one really. Now, allegedly, there is some presents coming. They just didn't come in time. Allegedly. So far, the Christmas haul equates to a crunchy bar, a Christmas card, Dad, who wrote me a very thoughtful message, which I couldn't read because his handwriting was too messy, and a little packet of lollies with no artificial colouring.
Couldn't even get you some artificial colouring.
And if you want to throw in my lovely girlfriend, she bought me a case for my MacBook Pro, like just a little case to protect it, and a Star Wars T-shirt, the ever dependable Star Wars T-shirt.
Now you've got one for every day of the week.
I was going to say, anyone ever needs to know what to get me for Christmas, what's a good what's the safety default? Star Wars related things. You can always be safe. I have a Star Wars tattoo. There's no escaping it. I do like Star Wars. We did just talk about The Mandalorian last show, so a Star Wars T-shirt. But it was good. It was a good fit. So that's my Christmas haul so far this year. What about you?
I got a little bit of cash from my dad. Shout out, Dad. He's not listening, but shout out. So I got some Christmas money from my dad, and I got a T-shirt from my auntie, a Spates T-shirt.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
I'm from Dunedin. She's from Dunedin. So
you can't, in good conscience.
I wore it on Christmas Day, proudly. Spates, of course, for our international listeners, is a beer, a lager, and it's a golden ale from Dunedin, brewed there in Dunedin, and it's good stuff. It's it's not high end. It's certainly not high end beer, but it's reliable. It's always there or thereabouts.
It's terrible beer. It's terrible beer. To endorse it is absolutely horrific. And it's, it's the beer that you're expected to drink if you live in Dunedin. Oh, Dunedin, hey, how about a bit of Spates? Hey, you want some Spates there, do you? No, I fucking don't want. Disgusting. It's this ugly brown, lagery, watery. It's very distasteful. As soon as you get out of Dunedin and you try Spates again, I'm shitting on Dunedin.
Yeah.
Shitting on the weather, shitting on Spates.
And you're doing it live from Dunedin.
My beloved hometown of Dunedin. There's many cool things about Dunedin. There are two fundamentally uncool things about Dunedin, would be its weather and its Spates. And you couldn't in good conscience recommend Spates as a beer.
Well, thank you for my T-shirt, Auntie. I do appreciate that. Now so shout out to Cam Kaibai NZ on the live stream.
Cam Kaiba, the Kaiba kid, the Falcon kid, the whole Falcon show. Cam Kaiba, he is a professional wrestler of great repute who just had a steel cage match with the big man Jamie Tangataese and the leader of Control, Jake Sheehan, for the Impact Wrestling New Zealand Heavyweight Championship.
I believe Jake Sheehan is actually Annabelle Sheehan's husband.
That's not correct.
The CEO of the New Zealand Film Commission, Annabelle Sheehan.
If that was true, we'd have a lot more things funded through TVNZ than we currently do.
You mean the
Sadly,
NZFC?
that's not the case.
Not TVNZ. But shout out to Cam Kaiba, who says that he's drunk off red wine and he's having a fantastic time watching the show. Merry Christmas to us. So Merry Christmas to you too, sir.
Merry Christmas, Cam.
Yes. Now, a little while ago, and I was listening to one of the previous episodes, and you said that actually I listened to a few of them here and there, and you said that not knowing the day of the week was a sign that a person didn't know that what they were doing with their life. You said
yeah, it was a good indicator.
Yeah,
it was it was certainly a potential that there was problems.
Yeah, well, you said if there was ever a sign that you don't know what's going on in your life, it's that you've lost track of your days. And, and I was thinking about that. And to that guy, I say that days are a human construct. They're a human construct. Yeah. They're irrelevant to a night walker such as myself. There is no today. There's no tomorrow. There's only right now. That's all there is. And you see, not
mindfulness.
Yeah, exactly. And days, naming the days, right, is an outdated practice. It's relevant only to the 9 to 5 plebers. Because what difference does it make otherwise? The only reason I pay any attention at all to what day it is in order to avoid the 9 to 5 plebers, right? Like I'll be like, should I go out for a beer? And I'll be like, no, it's Saturday night. Those cubicle dwelling happiness machines will be out venting their rage and despair by drinking themselves into a stupor, right? Or I'm like, should I go out driving somewhere? And then I'm like, no, it's a weekday at 5 p.m. The plebs will be sitting in their idling cars, burning fossil fuels and yelling at each other, right? So I think that in the future, and I'm already ahead of the curve here is what I'm saying. I'm ahead of the curve because in the future, we won't have days. We're not going to name days anymore. It's just going to be a never-ending cycle, a 24/7 work cycle. There'll just be night shifts and day shifts. And with 24/7, it'll be broken up into 3 8-hour shifts. So the whole day will be broken up to 3 8-hour shifts, and you're either a morning person, an afternoon person, or a night person. And then you walk down the main street, everything's open. Doesn't matter what time it is, because there's somebody standing behind the counter, and there's somebody that wants to buy some shit. One of the night people wants to buy some shit, or whatever. So I'm just ahead of the curve. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm definitely not a morning person either.
No,
that's for sure.
I'd be gunning for that afternoon shift.
Afternoon or evening for me. Yeah. In fact, sometimes when I get up and I shuffle out of because my girlfriend is always up earlier than me because she is more of a morning person. I shuffle out and she goes, "Oh, looks like it's a little bit too early for you. Looks like you've made a mistake here. You've made an error by trying to wake yourself at this time. You've got some problems there." So. And then I just toddle back off to bed for a couple of hours. So definitely not a morning person. No meeting should start before 11 a.m. That's for sure.
No, absolutely not.
Well, that's good that you've... it does present a problem when we schedule certain days to do the podcast, though.
Well, I think that's what you were referring to.
So, you can go into your night person and day person at me. I'll be like, well, cool, mate, but we were going to do the podcast today.
Yeah. We also mentioned on a previous show that I was looking at getting the apartment next to your apartment, getting the flat next to your flat. Your flat.
That's right.
And ultimately, I did not get that, did not apply for it. I did go and have a look at it. But, I do feel like we missed out on a great opportunity with that apartment, to get Pigville under the same roof and to, consolidate and get everything on track. I feel like we did miss an opportunity there. But
well, when you say we, you mean you.
What?
When I say you pulled a classic. You pulled a classic Neville.
Well, what's
you
that?
Fucking Nevilled it.
What's that?
Well, you hummed and hard and you dragged your feet until the thing was no longer a possibility.
Well,
and now we have two. Now we have two. So 3 people now live in that flat. Yeah. This one guy, and I'm not just. This is just an observation. 1 white guy, 2 Asian women.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, one is his wife, maybe one is the sister.
Mm-hmm. And
are they all in a relationship together? I don't know. It seems plausible. That's why else? Why else would that extra person? Why would it just be maybe he's trying to save money, but maybe they're all in a relationship together, and he's basically cracked the code.
Well, maybe. I mean,
that's kind of what
we
I
did.
That's kind of what I.
We
think.
did look at the possibility of me living in your spare room, your office room at your flat, and you live with your girlfriend, and then I would be in the other room. But what you're saying is that if you saw that from the outside, you'd be like, well, she must have cracked it. She's figured that out. The only obvious conclusion here is that they're all having sex. They're all having sex. Yeah. They're all in a big romantic partnership. It's only logical.
Because otherwise,
it's the only thing I can think of.
Otherwise,
it'd just be a couple. They wouldn't even have a flatmate.
No, so that's what I suspect with the neighbours, and they do often have the blinds drawn down.
I noticed that.
Another sign of
they're just having sex all the time.
Threesomes that is happening over there. That's what it seems to be to me. And I'm not one to judge, but that's, and more power to him. It seems like a pretty cool setup he's got going on over there.
Yeah. Well, good for him.
Seems like a pretty sweet deal. So that's the man that he who has moved in, but they're very nice. Well, when I say they're very nice, I don't really know what they're like, but they're very quiet. Yeah, and that's really all that matters.
And that's nice
at the end of the day. Because the last thing you want is like crazy parties over there. No, he's too tired from having sex with these 2 women all the time to be throwing parties. He's worn out. He works. He has sex with these 2 women. And then he goes to bed, and that's all he really has time for. He doesn't have time to have the music up loud. He doesn't have time to be having big, loud conversation because he's just so tired from all the sex that he's having. And so good on him. So that man.
What really happened though was I didn't actually snooze on it. I simply couldn't really justify the expense was the issue, and it is partially your fault because you weren't wanting to share your internet with me, for example. To help me reduce the costs. You gave that the big no. No encouragement or support that you might.
Vetoed the sharing of.
I'll just buy an extender for my house.
Expensive.
It's expensive. Well, yeah, but if I was going thirds with you guys and your internet, then that saves me having to get my own internet installed, because this is basically the issue here. Was I was like, okay, cool, so I want to do this, and I began the process of applying, and I did have a look at it. But the big problem was my work was just finishing up for the year, and there was no reason to believe I was going to have any work for a month or 2 months or who knows how long until it picks up in 2021. So we're talking about here me moving into a flat which required 4 weeks bond. It was $500 a week, so I need $2,000 bond straight away and $1,000 rent in advance. And that $1,000 rent is only 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks. So I'm starting off with $3,000. Now I've got about $3,000 in my runway, right? Which is my rent account that covers me for the next 10 weeks. Right, so if I did that, if I took that out and put it into the bond and all that stuff, well, it's all gone. My runway's gone. So now everything else, I didn't have much income coming in, so I'd have to start delving into my savings and all that type of thing. There's no internet. I have to get the internet connected and pay whatever's associated with that. The power connected, and then also it didn't have a washing machine, which I'd go next door and borrow yours, I guess, but it didn't have a washing machine, and it didn't have a fridge. and then on top of that, I don't own a goddamn plate, you know. So like, I would just be starting completely fresh. And at this time of year, I hear it's quite difficult to get a flatmate. So, so I'd be looking for a flatmate for this tiny, shitty little room that is overpriced. And I'll still end up having to pay heaps for the other room, which is also shit and small. And then all my money will be gone on this bond and all the rest of it. I won't have any of the basics. And then I'll be agreeing to pay $500 a week every week until I get that sorted at a time when I've got no income, because all my jobs were finishing up. And so I was like, well, I can't really afford this. I can't really justify it. I'd like to, but I just don't know if I can quite do it. And then so I didn't apply. And then 1 week later, I picked up a bunch of work over Christmas, and I was like, fuck. If I had,
and 1 week later, that position, the flats, was, well, you missed out on the real solution, which was to start sleeping with two Asian women who live with you and take care of you, and you must obviously financially support them, but they will, have threesomes with you when you need, and they will probably help out with the some of the cooking,
right?
etc.
So you're not really solving solving the financial issue. You're essentially saying that I should have taken the flat and hired two full-time live-in prostitutes. That's complicating matters even further.
You don't, because you're providing them as their sugar daddy. You're providing them
exactly.
shelter.
But the issue is the money.
But you're not paying them.
But I'm still feeding three mouths. And think of all the condoms we'd use. Yeah, condoms aren't cheap.
Well, why would you be wearing condoms?
I just because if they're two live-in prostitutes, you should probably use condoms.
Oh well, I guess if they're live-in,
you should probably sure.
I wasn't suggesting that. I said just find two Asian women like that guy did next door. He figured it out.
Well, ask him next time you see the guy. Ask him for me. How did you get this situation organised? Yeah.
Yes, and like a hilarious thing. I think I read this on Twitter. So this is what is that called?
Tweeter segment.
Twitter is that's a long forgotten segment,
thankfully.
And so this is a Twitter a tweet that I read the other day, but I can't remember who it's from, so I'm just freestyling off the top of my head. But it goes something like, whenever somebody says to you after seeing your girlfriend, you must be a really lucky guy, that is code for I want to fuck your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'll be like, hey, you must be a really lucky guy with these two girls that stayed over at your house. Real lucky guy, must be a lucky guy. So anytime someone tells you you're a lucky guy, just know what it really means.
They want to bang your girlfriend.
Or you've done really well for yourself.
Which is... it's also an indication that they think you are ugly.
Yeah, well, it's an indication that you're punching well above your weight, and that is with you shouldn't be with you, and has no business being with you, and hence you have done really well. Also, they would like to fuck your girlfriend. So that's what that one means. That's the code for that one. So it's slightly more insulting. So lucky guy is just the base, I want to fuck your girlfriend. You've done really well for yourself as you are a sad, ugly loser who should not be dating this girl that I also want to fuck. So there you go. She's some new code there for you to use. So just think twice before you use either of those two sayings when you run into your friend's girlfriend next time. Just think about it. Think about it.
Yes. Well, I've noticed that in Auckland, at least, every single woman who is attractive has a boyfriend. Every single one. Anytime I meet any attractive woman, she has a boyfriend, or she tells me she does at least. So it's like I can't even ask people out on dates because They've all got boyfriends. So we're, every time. Sometimes I'll meet a person, we chat at a party or something like that, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's really cool, and she seemed interested in me, and we had good chats and all that, and then jump on the old Facebook, do a little face stalk, track her down, in a relationship. Every time.
Well, how's the old Hinge life going there, mate?
Well, I keep matching with people on Hinge. Sorry. The Hinge. I keep matching with people on Hinge, but I can't be fucked with all this chatting online, all this online chat. It just gets a bit repetitive. What do you do? So you've just got to be like, all right, cool. Well, when are we going to meet? Let's meet on Monday or whatever. And then that in itself takes a bit of effort to organize. And then you meet, and it's like an interview, and you don't necessarily have too much to talk about, or potentially not, because it's such a crapshoot. You know what I mean? It's just such a random mishmash. You didn't meet over something that you both have an interest in or a love for. You didn't meet through a friend or somebody that you have in common that you're just randomly thrown together, and it's just kind of hoping that you've got like some stuff in common, which you don't necessarily always do. And so anyway, I am matching with people, and I do have little chats here and there, but I don't really pull the trigger on the actual meeting with them very often. And when I do, it doesn't work out. Or it just doesn't, like it's nice, we have a chat, but it's not, there's no like, oh yes, sparks flying and all that,
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
But I think it's my fault, the lack of sparks. I don't really put the moves on, I'm not like real flirty.
It's all your fault.
Yeah.
All of this is your fault. You're the architect of your own demise. I've told you that many times.
Well, how? What am I doing wrong?
Continues to be your fault. Well, literally how you described that interaction was full of can't be bothered and not going to work out.
Yeah, but you got to remember, this is not. It's not. I didn't start off this way. This is what I've gradually become, because from time and experience.
It's what you've gradually. It's what you've gradually become. Except that you have many times in the past lamented the the lack of effort that people put in when talking on social media, and the high as an opener of your instant rejection, instant rejection of that, and all of these things are not helping the cause. Not really helping the cause in any way.
Yeah, well, not helping, sure, but I don't think they're undermining it too much. I feel like I should be able to meet with a person and, have some rapport, have some chat, some things in common, and yet, I don't know, I guess I'm just not as attractive as I think I am, or something like that, because...
Can't really get by with just your looks.
Yeah. Well, more like can't get by with just my personality is what you mean, and my looks are letting the team down.
Well, I guess so. Either way.
or it's a combination of personality and looks letting the team down. Yeah, yeah. Well, so I don't know what to do. I mean, I went to a singles night. I literally paid $50 to go to mingle at the museum, right?
That's quite a lot of money. That's a lot of money for singles. I'm trying to get some more life.
So I paid $50 to go to attend a singles night, mingle at the museum, and it was nice. And I spent time with this one woman all evening, and we got along, well, and she was attractive. But then, it just petered out online. Just the old text convo just kind of petered out. And, I did ask her out to a couple of things here and there, but I think it was quite short notice or something like that. And then it was like just sort of petered out to nothing.
Yeah, well, you are also quite bad for that.
Letting the text conversations peter out.
Well, I'm not sure. I can't really speak to that, but definitely the last minute booking.
Oh, yeah.
It's
because I never know what day it is. I'm like, there is no today. There is no, so today, tomorrow, and there's right now and yesterday. So
This is what you text to people after they're like, sorry, I'm busy on Thursday. There is no today or tomorrow. There is no
There's only
Thursday.
right now.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. There's only right now. And they're like, well, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
On Thursday, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we should probably open up the segment with the last 2020 segment of...
Of course, it is the...
Who's...
Oh. I was just going to say, yes.
Who's dead?
The last episode.
Who's dead this week? So, we've got a couple of deaths. A couple of sad... One death that is slightly less sad than the other. So, in fact, he did die last week, but we could get round to him. We couldn't fit him in on the Who's Dead this week because someone else died. Or did we? We maybe just didn't have time for a Who's Dead this week.
I don't think we did it.
So Who's Dead last week was Jeremy Bullock. Do you know who that is?
The famous founder of the Bullock track.
Boba Fett.
Yep. I did see that, actually.
So we lost Darth Vader a couple of weeks ago, and now we've lost Boba Fett.
It's almost as if these actors from a movie in the 70s are getting kind of old or something, now that it's literally 50 years later.
It's scary. It's true that they are, and I don't like it. I do not like it one bit. Jeremy Bullock, he passed away. He was the Boba Fett. He's the Boba Fett. He was never the voice of Boba Fett, I don't believe. He was only, again, same with David Prowse, who was the Vader, Darth Vader, the man in the suit. This was the man in the suit, Jeremy Bullock. So he was the man in the suit for these 3 movies. But he did, with that brief sort of cameo, those brief moments, he did create a character that has now spawned a whole new TV series, or a couple of TV series.
He's a crowd favorite as well, right? I mean, everyone loves Boba Fett. There's book spin-offs.
It's very memorable.
There's book spin-offs and all that. But what I would say is that actually it was the costume department that created that character.
That were the true
winners. Because what is so great about him is how cool he looks.
Yeah, and his Slave One, his spaceship is quite cool as well. It's a little bit of a different design.
And did you know, Guy, that he regretted calling it Slave One?
I did not know that.
Boba Fett regretted naming his ship Slave One. And the reason why he regretted it was because it revealed the existence of Slave 2.
Right.
That's a fact.
Well,
that's a fact. There's a Star Wars fact for you people.
That's canon.
That's canon.
That's canon.
It's in the book.
Now, of course, Temuera Morrison has now taken over the role of Boba Fett in the new TV. He was
famous
Jango
Kiwi,
Fett.
Temuera Morrison.
He was Jango Fett, Attack of the Clones, and then he has now become Boba Fett because all of the clones, all of the stormtroopers, all of the people from the Clone Wars were based off Jango Fett's DNA. So, in theory, they all grow up to look like Temuera Morrison, which is handy.
But wait. So what? Oh, that's right. And Boba Fett is a clone that he decided to keep. He wanted to keep one of himself.
Yeah.
He wanted to keep one as a son, but minus all of the inhibitors and so on that the stormtroopers had.
Yeah. So what is kind of crazy is that had Jango Fett not been beheaded by Obi-Wan Kenobi, or maybe it was Mace Windu, actually. I believe it was Mace Windu. So had Jango Fett not had the hubris to take on one of the greatest Jedis of all time with a blaster and some like missiles and shit, and had he lived, he would be looking at like a young version of himself as the old version of himself, and that would be weird. You know, when it's a son, like when he's your son and he hasn't grown up, that's okay. He's just his son. But when he legitimately grows up to look exactly like you, except younger, that's gonna be kind of messed up.
I liked it when Boba Fett
thankfully, did what?
Picked up his dad's head while it was still in the helmet. Looked at it. After he had been beheaded, he picks it up and looks at it. His head's still in it.
He squats down and he picks up Boba Fett's helmet with presumably his dad's head, or his adopted. Well,
his dad.
It is his dad.
Sort of.
Picks it up and looks at it. The head doesn't fall out.
No. It was strapped in there. It's got a strap.
The chin strap.
It's got a chin strap.
The chin strap
it's got a chin strap.
And there's no blood because, as we know, a lightsaber, when it chops you, cauterizes it at the same time. So there's no blood dripping. So he can pick up this weighty head of his dead dad and just have a little look at it.
And then he obviously keeps the helmet. And becomes Boba Fett.
Yeah.
That's how he got his helmet. I think that was the whole point of him picking up the helmet, right? He's picked up the mantle. He's taken up the mantle. Yeah. And then before he and so what we want to know, because there is the story of we're getting into some deep Star Wars lore here, but there's the story about how Boba Fett gets out of the Sarlacc pit in one of the books, one of the post-Star Wars books that was written, which I read. Can't really remember what happens, but he definitely gets out of there. Obviously, he has gotten out of there because we've just seen that in The Mandalorian. As Boba Fett is back as Temuera Morrison, but we don't know how he got out of that Sarlacc pit. Oh, I know how he got out.
It wasn't digested.
I know how he got out.
Wasn't.
It was his. It was with his jetpack, and his armor allowed him to resist the stomach acid of the Sarlacc for longer, and he manages to turn his jetpack back on eventually after getting himself free. I can't quite remember how, and he gets his jetpack going eventually and gets himself out of there, burns his way out. And while he's in there, he has a conversation with somebody else who's trapped in there, and it turns out that what the Sarlacc does is it keeps you alive for a very, very long time in order to, consume you very, very slowly as a sort of an ongoing food source. And so this person had been in there for years and was sort of trapped in the walls and sort of being kept alive by the Sarlacc, but unable to escape and just stuck there in this permanent hell of a Sarlacc's stomach.
For over 1,000 years.
Is that how long it says that it keeps them alive or something?
As well, it says that you'll be digested. I think it's for over 1,000 years.
So
I believe that's what C-3PO says in Return of the Jedi.
Well, it's true. It keeps you alive and conscious, and although I don't see how it would extend your life, but I guess it does.
Well, I guess you might only be alive for like a couple of years, but be digested for over 1,000.
Maybe. Well, this guy had been in there for years.
I feel like maybe Boba Fett got some gear to jimmy up his jetpack from some of the other people that were down there. Maybe that's what happened.
Could be. It's been a while since I read it.
It has been 23 years or so since you read that book. So anyway, that's what's going on there.
Well, I went to... there's another dead person.
We haven't finished. Yeah, there's another dead person. There's another dead person. So this one is actually quite a lot more sad. So Jeremy Bullock, he was 75, so that's not young, but it's not that old. So definitely sucks. But, it's kind of expected. The other person that died this week was Mr. Brody Lee. Now, Mr. Brody is a wrestler who's also known as Luke Harper in the WWE. He plays a did play a cult-like kind of Charles Manson-style character. Had like a big-ass beard, this crazy look, super dirty wife-beater shirt. He was a very good wrestler, and he had been wrestling at as recently as October, so very recently, and was only 41 years old, and he was wrestling at he wasn't wrestling in indies. He was wrestling in one of the main promotions, AEW, at the top of the card. So it is very shocking because it's been a long time since, or it's been a relatively long time since we've had a wrestler death of someone who was very young and sort of the prime condition sort of thing pass away. He passed away quite well. It seemed very shocking, very out of the blue. Allegedly to do with a lung illness of some sort. It wasn't specified. It was not COVID, apparently. But he just passed away, I think, yesterday. So that was a big shock to the wrestling world because, yes, and it just makes you really think we could go at any time.
Well, we definitely could. We could.
So, R.I.P. to Boba Fett and Mr. Brody Lee. I would have a drink, but I've finished my beer, so I'll just raise the glass to the two of you and gone but not forgotten. So, there we go.
There we go. Well, I went to the beach by myself the other day. That was cool. Just hung out by myself. Pretty lame. And it is now the last...
Yeah, anything happened to you at the beach?
No, it wasn't like that time. I didn't go to Titty Cove this time. I do like to go to Titty Cove, the famous secret spot where topless ladies always sunbathe, and I go there.
Yeah.
And sometimes they lie down next to me and sunbathe topless. On a number of occasions, this has happened to me at Titty Cove. So, but I did not go to Titty Cove. I've actually, the last 3 or 4 times I've gone to the beach, I did not go to Titty Cove. So I should probably, I'm glad you reminded me. I'll go back there next time.
I'm just surprised that wasn't the first. The first trip, really, if you're going to go to the beach by yourself. Then Titty Cove seems like the
place to be.
Yeah.
Well, so it is, though, the final episode of 2020.
It is.
So that's good, right? We can put this damn year behind us. Now, part of me feels positive. Thinking about next year, thinks like, the worst is behind us now. In New Zealand, it's all recovery from here. We're on our way up. Work is picking up. Life is kind of getting back to normal virtually. It's pretty much back to normal, more or less. And we're really kind of living the dream, and there's lots of reasons to feel quite positive about 2021, I think, so that feels good. But then another part of me, a more sensible part of me, says that the virus doesn't give a shit what year it is, what we call it. Years are a human construct. Nothing's going to change in 2021. 2020 is just effectively going to continue going, and it's still going to be, everything's going to go wrong, and people are going to, the pandemic's going to keep going. Climate change is real, and it's going to keep progressing, and all of these things are going to keep on happening because years are a human construct, and reality doesn't care about that, and the virus doesn't care about that, and climate change doesn't care about it either. So, yeah, I'm in two minds, really.
Well, certainly there's some disturbing, things. We've got the vaccines now. There's all these vaccines that are 90% effective, 95% effective, this much effective. But what does that really mean? When you have this virus that is now apparently this new mutation of the virus. So this new mutation of the virus in England that apparently is either 50% more contractable, more
contagious.
Contagious, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, that's really bad because it was already very contagious beforehand. In fact, that's what's made it, part of the reason that's made it so bad is that it's incredibly contagious. It can spread through fucking air particles. It can spread through someone who pressed the elevator button 2 hours prior. It can spread through someone who sat in the same seat on a bus, sometime prior. All of those are like kind of the remotest versions. You can walk through it in the air. There's all these ways and that was before the 50% extra.
Well,
it's like the chewing gum. 50% extra lasts 50% longer.
The good news,
50% more powerful.
Yeah, well, 50% more contagious. But the good news is that I heard there's a bit of a rule within, I don't know, I can't remember the name for a person that studies viruses now.
Virologist.
I don't think that's actually what they're called, but yeah, let's call them that. And the rule is that the more contagious it is, the less deadly it is. Because if it's super contagious and super deadly, it kills off everybody quickly, it kills off all its hosts. And so it gets spread around, but then it kills everybody off. Whereas, if it's like just contagious but not super deadly, it gets around and it survives really well. That's evolution, right? And so that's why we have these normal flus now, every summer, every winter, the annual flu, jab that you need to get and all that. So yeah, it might be like a less deadly version of it, if we're lucky. A more contagious, less deadly version. So it'll just become like another flu, basically.
Yes. Well, that's what we have to hope, is that it becomes more like the flu. But it certainly doesn't seem that way. And I can't see, I certainly wouldn't be making any holiday plans abroad in 2021.
Well, I'm going to Japan.
Well, I wouldn't count on that. Certainly would not count on that. Although Japan are doing
well, apparently they responded very well to the virus, apparently, and
for instance in New Japan Wrestling, which is my favorite wrestling at the moment, they have crowds back, which is the first place to truly have significant crowds back. They all wear face masks. They're not allowed to cheer. They can only clap or stamp their feet, because obviously cheering, ejection, spitting, all that sort of thing. So they can't do all the things they used to do, but they can clap and stamp their feet. And I thought that's that's discipline right there. That's discipline. That's saying hey, you can come back and enjoy one of your favorite things, but you have to do it in a different way. And you have to, if you don't want to ruin it for everyone else, you have to do it in this very disciplined, hygienic, follow the rules. And Japan are very good at following the rules. But we could all learn a lot from their approach.
Well, when I come back, I'll tell you all about it. I'll give you the...
You let me know, mate. Let me know.
411 on how they do all of that.
And speaking of Japan, and this is not, but speaking of Asian cinema, Harley. So I've got a little bit of a recommendation for our viewers. So
Parasite.
Still
haven't seen it.
Is great. I do recommend watching that. I did recommend that 50 episodes ago. My recommendation stands.
Yep. I'm getting there.
That's definitely something that you should check out. But I also seen a new film. I think it's a Korean TV series, which was actually recommended by our friend Julie Clark, who works as the makeup artist on a lot of our projects. Now, she said you need to check out this TV series. It's called Sweet Home. It's on Netflix. Now, to be honest, I haven't really done a deep dive into the Asian side of Netflix, because what I get recommended tends to be Western stuff. That's not through, that's just how the algorithm works, because mainly I'm watching shows and movies that are English speaking. And so, but she recommended this one, Sweet Home, which is a TV series, which is based around the idea, which is pretty cool, of the idea that basically people just start turning into monsters. And so everyone's it's one day's normal, then the next day you start becoming a monster. Some people can hold off becoming a monster and learn to control their monster impulses, but it's very rare. The monsters are almost unkillable. You metamorphosize into, the monsters are all different. You don't just turn into a zombie. You will become something different dependent on your personality and genetic makeup. So you become very different. So all of the monsters are completely different. And anyway, it's this really cool TV series. I highly recommend people check it out. And it did remind me that Asian cinema and the filmmakers there tend to just do stuff that's way better than Western stuff at the moment. We're bringing out Wonder Woman 1984, and they're bringing out Sweet Home.
Yep.
And it's some of the most standout films that I've watched, and I haven't watched that many, Asian TV series, have all been from Asian cinema, and recently. And to me, this is just spilling out onto that. They just do cool shit. They come up with cool ideas. It's unique and original. It's slightly different. They also have a visual style that is often a lot more interesting than Western films. And they're just really just killing it over there. And really, that's where I'm finding a lot of inspiration from.
It's all part of this transfer of cultural sort of wealth and military power and economic power from west to east. It's all happening in front of us, and we're fucking around making Wonder Woman and fucking Superman and all of this other nonsense, and they're over there making good quality films. And this is the transition period where America got so big and dumb with the content that's what they're demanding now. That's what people want to see now over there, and it has effect over here as well. But meanwhile, it's all changing for the better over there.
Yep.
And we're in a transition period here.
So this is a South Korean show, I believe, called Sweet Home, but they're absolutely bringing it. So Sweet Home, highly recommend.
Okay.
Highly recommend
right.
that one.
Well, I recommend Alien Worlds on Netflix as well, which is a documentary series akin to Cosmos, with Neil deGrasse Tyson, Cosmos, it's called Alien Worlds, and I've watched 3 episodes, and basically in every episode they introduce you to a different alien planet, a fictional alien planet that could exist out there, and explore how life would evolve on a planet like that, and then they use examples of life on Earth doing that. So they'll show that life on Earth in this environment does that. Therefore, if you were on a planet like this, then life might evolve like this, and it visualizes it and shows you how it all works. So the first one explores what it would be like on a planet with twice the gravity of Earth, and the second one explores what life would be like on a planet that was gravitationally locked to its star so that it doesn't spin on its axis anymore. It's permanently got one sunny side and one dark side. What life would be like on a planet with more oxygen. So there's more oxygen, and so there's and two stars instead of one, and sort of how life might evolve in places like that. So yes, that is a good show worth checking out if you're into space and aliens, like me.
So if you want to see what alien life might be like on other planets, using our planet as an example of how life may function, watch that. If you want to watch big, scary monsters trying to kill other people and people turning into monsters, watch Sweet Home.
There you go. Something for everybody around here.
Yeah, so whatever
tickles your fancy. Yeah. Well, today I was emailing and messaging some different people that are advertising flats on Trade Me, because I want to get out of this little basement. I want to get a place with a yard. I need to get out. I need to get out of this little basement. And so before summer, I want to spend all of summer in a place with a yard. I did just get a text back from one of them, saying that unfortunately he's filled the room. The big room. There's 2 rooms in his place. I wanted the big room. He's filled the big room. And so I'm only allowed the little room if I want it, which I probably don't.
Right.
Or I can come look at it. But yes, anyway, that's the update on that. So if you're out there, listeners, and you've got a yard and you're in Auckland and you need a flatmate, slide into my DMs. Let me know. I'm looking for a place. But on that note, I think we should probably wrap the show up for the year.
Yes.
It is the final episode of 2020. Good riddance, and to all our listeners, thank you for sticking with us this year and going through the ups and downs of lockdown with us, and watching me slowly go insane, and also our decline into decrepitude over these years. This year, tough year all round for everybody, and I hope you guys all out there have gotten through it and have a good, exciting 2021 ahead of you. I've got a good feeling about 2021 for not only for you and me, Guy, but for the listeners.
Well, I look forward to 2021, yes, excited about.
Yep.
It's possibilities. I'm gone. You've lost me.
Yeah, no, you're still there. I can see you. Yeah. Here
we go. So definitely looking forward to that. And Happy New Year to everyone. Merry Christmas to everyone. And to all, a good night.
Yeah, we will be back early in the new year with a new episode just for you guys. But until then, stay safe out there. Look after each other. Look after yourselves. Make some New Year's resolutions and actually stick to them. But you know what I do with New Year's is I don't make a resolution like I'm going to lose more weight. I choose a word to live by, and then I live by that word. If I'm ever unsure, I go, well, what's my word for this year? Is it hustle? Okay, so it's hustle. So if I'm thinking about doing something or not, I'll go, well, what's your word of the year? It's hustle. What's your goal of the year? What's your whatever. So pick a word. And if you're ever unsure over the course of 2021, refer back to the word and see if your decision, and then make your decision based on, if it's achieving what the goals of that word were.
All right. What's the word for 2021?
Well, I haven't made one yet. I'll have to let you know in the new year what it was.
We'll do that.
Yeah, I'll let you guys
come up with the words.
New year, new me. That's what it'll be called. All right, so thank you very much for listening, and please hit like, please subscribe, please go to patreon.com/pigville and give us $1 a month. Please go to facebook.com/Guy and Harley and hit like, because that helps us, and you can keep up to date with when we're going live and all that stuff. Please go along to olderfilm.com. That's the best way to support us right now. Go to olderfilm.com and you can watch our second feature film, Older, and there's even a way to watch it for free there if you go to Tubi. So you've got paying options, you've got free options, you've got all the options at olderfilm.com. So there's really no excuse not to go and check out that film. So if you want to help us, please do that, olderfilm.com. And wherever you're listening, make sure you give us a thumbs up or a subscribe. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you give us a review if you enjoy the show, because we really want to reach a slightly bigger audience. It would be lovely to be able to monetize this show. And then the one other final thing is we're only 150 hours of view time away from monetizing our original Pigville channel again. It got demonetized because YouTube are meanies, and we need to reach 4,000 hours worth of view time within 12 months, and we only need 150 more hours, and then we'll be monetized again. So if you could go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Pigville, and the number 2, Pigville is the name we make movies under, Pigville and the number 2, you can watch our stuff there, and that would really help us get over that 150 hours, over that 4,000 hours. So please go and do that. And other than that, Happy New Year. See you next year.
See you later.